Dave Patterson. He was always the straight guy, the referee between John, Gib, Don, and Dorothy. After leaving Cleveland, Dave went first to Philadelphia and then left there to go west.
And I'm Dave Patterson. Thank you for joining us in our top story tonight.
For the last 8 years, Dave has lived out here in sunny Phoenix, Arizona, where he has continued to be the #1 rated anchorman on TV station KTSP.
I'm going to work maybe 3 more years, and then I'm going to close down the tent.
Dave has had a very successful career and says he recalls fondly his days here in Cleveland after Hambrick left, when he was teamed up with a pretty green, inexperienced kid from Canton.
Hi, everybody. Ted Henry with the weather word this evening for vacationing Ray Robin.
Some thrill for me, from doing the weather in Akron to anchoring with Dave Patterson in Cleveland.
Good evening. At 6 o'clock, an Eyewitness News is being made here and around the world.
The elements that make Cleveland an important part of our country are the things that I miss.
Dave has done it all and seen it all in TV, including his share of disappointment.
I was in Philadelphia for about 1.5 years, and the manager who hired me got fired for bad judgment. So then...
Once in a while, you find a couple of guys who just naturally work well together.
Dave says making these television news promos was one of the latest moments of his stay in Cleveland.
Dave Patterson and Ted Henry, the news people talk about. Naturally.
But then the station redid these promos to show the human side of television.
Have you ever had one of those days when nothing goes right?
At first, Dave hated doing these promos, believing they were inappropriate, too humorous in promoting news. But over the years, he's mellowed.
Well, you asked me how I've changed. If I were doing that again today, I'd sell tickets. We'd call in the city, and we'd make as much money out of that as they could to watch people throw coffee on me.
Here's the script! You can always pull your act together when it really counts.
Good evening. I'm Dave Patterson.
And I'm Ted Henry.
The news people talk about. Even on one of those days.
Dave tells me that after television news, he plans to work in film production work for nonprofit agencies around the country. And one thing more, he also says he still misses Cleveland.
You know, your voice got deeper. It did, huh? Well, you might remember that earlier on Live on 5, we showed you this picture, and we asked you if you knew who it was. Well, some of you may have already guessed, but for those of you who didn't, here's the answer for you. Look again. That's right, it's Mayor Michael White. Now, throughout our Remember When week this week, we're going to continue to show you pictures of people from our area when they were younger and how they look today.
So what are you saying? We not only look different, we sound different these days.
Don't you think your voice sounded...
I think the videotape was speeded up there a little bit. I think it's probably to us.
He was only a child.
That was in 1965 when that was taken.
You were 19?
Yeah.
Aw.
Can't remember back that many years.
Remember when.
Let's make a change now. Come on, baby.
You know, every one of us has a song that triggers memories. You hear the song on the car radio, for example. You instantly remember where you were, possibly who you were with when it was popular. Well, tonight we're continuing our series, Remember When, and I take a look at the radio station many of us listened to when those songs were popular.
Wixie Golden 1260. Oh, if you're looking for something to make you feel pretty good, here's Chicago.
If you, like me, listened to radio in Cleveland during the late 1960s or early 70s, you almost certainly listened to WEWS 1260. We all remember that jingle, WEWS 1260, Super Radio. Well, the station was the overpowering radio giant in town, and it dictated what we were listening to. Only the social stress of the time was a greater factor.
Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Long about a Saturday night. 1, 2, 3. Good love. Good love. Living it up at the Hotel California. He's a real nowhere man. Are you reeling in the
The WEWS Supermen. That's what the WEWS disc jockeys were called as the 60s changed to the 70s. Larry Morrow was there then when WEWS rocked the town like the giant it was.
It was still turbulent. We had the Kent State problem.
Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young had recorded 4 Dead in Ohio, which then caused a revolution all over the campuses in America. Again, the reflection of society. But thank God those times were over around 71, 72.
The times did change. The music did change. And now even WEWS is gone. Larry spins records, or I guess slides in compact discs these days at contemporary station Q104. But like all of us in Cleveland during the late 60s, he remembers the music and the radio station that we came of age with.
It was one of the most exciting times of my early life to come to work and to be able to pick up the phone and call Neil Diamond, to be able to pick up the phone and call the Beach Boys, or to come into work and see a phone call from the Fifth Dimension. Would you please give them a call? To have Diana Ross in town and have lunch with her. You know, you can't do that anymore.
Ritzy Golden 1260. Remember.
Don't you love that song? I'll tell you, tomorrow night we're going to remember Cleveland's greatest teams. You know, WEWS had shirts, they had posters, they had buttons like this one that Adam from Maple Heights sent me. It said, WEWS 1260 has gone bananas. There were so many things, you know, happening with that station.
I didn't know you could sing.
I
You're
can't.
good.
I can't. I have had no recording offers, and we all know why, don't we?
Well, in keeping with our Remember When series today on Live on 5, we showed you a picture of a well-known in our community. Okay, 2 seconds are up. You know who that guy is. Well, if you haven't guessed yet, it's Don Webster. No, this is your last chance to look at the picture before we tell you who it is.
Benny Bonanno.
Benny Bonanno. He's the clerk of Muni Courts for the city of Cleveland. Probably going to run for president one day. Now, don't forget to watch tomorrow for yet another picture for you to identify on Live on 5. This is a lot of fun. Hey,
yes.
You make me want to shout.
Really? It's time for a test once again, time to test your ability to recall the past. Earlier today, we gave you a look at this picture and asked you to identify the young man that you see here. Now, this is truly a little bit harder than the other photos from this past week we've been showing you. However, if you guessed Judge Carl Stokes, I'll tell you, then you should pat yourself right on the back because you are absolutely right. It was a difficult one,
Yeah, it was
wasn't
the absence of the mustache. It stumped me.
I did too. I really wasn't sure. I said, I know that face, but who is it? All right, all this week, if you've been following us along, we sure hope you have, we've been traveling in our time machine, taking you back in time when many of us were coming of age.
This has been a whole lot of fun Monday through Friday.
Sure
Tonight, Don remembers when he hosted a program here on TV5 that not only had Cleveland dancing, but much of the nation dancing right along with you as well, every week.
That's right, Ted. And, you know,